Welcome back to ADHD Whiskey. My name is Matt, and today is 1 ounce Wednesday. Typically, I take 1 ounce from a sample that was sent to me by a viewer or a patron or by a distillery. But today, instead of doing that, I'm going off the rails a little bit. I wanted to do a video for my Patreon community, giving tasting notes for a couple barrel picks that I have being released this Friday, March 18th. So I sat down to shoot a video for Patreon and I was like, you know what I should do? Why don't I make this a 1 ounce Wednesday? Why don't I pour the samples from... I was like, let's make it a 1 ounce Wednesday. Let's take a little bit from the sample bottles I got from the distillery. I'll sample them, I'll taste them. Typically, the only place to get my barrel picks are on Patreon. That is where all the barrel picks drop. Like Lob Creek, or Secret of the Booze, or the New Riff Sleep Screamer. But there is a little bit of a caveat, a little bit of a game changer. This Friday, I'm releasing my very first Matt Madness barrel pick. Matt Madness is a whiskey tasting tournament that I put on my live streams every Friday night. I invite other whiskey YouTubers to join into a whiskey tasting tournament. This is the second year of that tournament, and this year, I'm honoring the tournament with a single barrel pick from NULU. After I make the bottles available to my Patreon, I will then make them available to the general public so that you guys can have a shot at an ADHD whiskey single barrel, and it is called Matt Madness Season 2. New year, new losers. The Matt Madness pick is a straight rye whiskey, a 6-year MGP from NULU. It's barrel strength, it's non-chill filtered, and it's 123.8 proof. This is my first rye pick I've ever done, and it is crazy good. The other single barrel that will be available to only Patreon is a 6-year low rye MGP bourbon. It's also barrel strength and non-chill filtered, 124.4 proof, 6-year MGP, finished for 15 months in a Copper & Kings apple brandy barrel. I'm gonna pour the apple brandy finished bourbon first, and then I'll follow it up with the rye. America. 124 proof, apple brandy finished NULU. 6-year MGP with a 15-month finish. Wow. Whew. That is literal liquid apple pie. Have you ever had apple pie shots at the bar? It tastes just like alcoholic apple pie. That's what this smells like if it were made out of bourbon. Spiced apple rings. Lots of spiced apple rings. Strawberry fruit leather. Weirdly enough, it kind of smells like a kitchen on Thanksgiving. There's sweet notes, but there's some spice in there too. It's like a hot Thanksgiving kitchen. Oh yeah. Let's give it a taste. Wow. Wow. If you're into finished bourbons, super sweet, super candy finished bourbons, then this bugger is crazy good. Bardstown Bourbon Company did a collaboration with Copper & Kings where they finished an MGP bourbon in Copper & Kings apple brandy barrels for 18 months. And I know that the MGP bourbon was a little bit older. I want to say like 10 years old. And it was my favorite Bardstown Bourbon collaboration ever. So stupid good. So when I found out NULU was doing 6-year MGP in apple brandy barrels from Copper & Kings, I was like, dudes, Porter needs that. So what did I do? I went to NULU and I tortured them all with my stinkiness and humor for as long as they could tolerate it before they gave me whatever I wanted. And what I wanted was a delicious rye and an apple brandy finished bourbon. And I got out of there with both. You know why? Because I am intolerable or insufferable. This apple brandy bourbon is crazy good. Wow. It makes your mouth do all the things that a great barrel proof bourbon will do. It gets into all the crevices and it's oily and sweet. If apple butter were alcoholic and a little bit spicy, it's like a spiced alcoholic apple butter. A little bit of cinnamon. That's what the finish tastes like. A red Mike and Ike with a little bit of a hot tamale mixed in there. Hot tamale candy. So stupid good. Of course, no single barrel would be complete without a sticker, without what some people call a tater sticker. So the apple brandy is called Friggin' Apples. And of course, it is incredible and hulky. Friggin' Apples. Matt Madness Season 2, New Year, New Losers, 123.8 proof, 95.5 MGP straight rye whiskey. It's barrel strength, uncut, unfiltered. Look at the color on it. It is so dark. The color on this is so dark. Oh, the nose is ridiculous. The nose is pure candy. The nose is like a green Jolly Rancher got mixed with one of those root beer barrel hard candies. It is extra oily, just sticks to the side of the glass. New year, new losers, down the hatch. Wow. Wow, that's good. I don't think I could possibly be any happier for my first rye pick than this. This is my favorite type of rye. Absolutely my favorite type of rye. It's super sweet up front, and then the spiciness and the powerfulness of it builds up the back of the palate. It's remarkable hard candies the root beer barrels carry from the nose to the palate. Little sarsaparilla. Wow. Oh my goodness. I love complex whiskeys, and this rye shifts gears right in the middle. Just shifts gears like a maniac in a friggin' Grand National. Just shifts gears into a spicy bitch on the back. I do these barrel picks whenever I can because they're awesome and fun to do. And they get sold through bourbonoutfitter.com, which is like an online retailer for Justin's House of Bourbon. And then I make those bottles available to my Patreon community. I don't make any money off of the barrel. I don't make any money off of the bottles. I don't get a cut. I don't take a percentage. What I get is the opportunity to pick the barrel and make it available to the people who support me. Both of these NULU barrels are $99 each. They will be available on bourbonoutfitter.com this Friday, March 18th. Both barrels will be made available to Patreon starting at noon on Friday. After both barrels have been made available to every tier in my Patreon community, I will then release the NULU New Year, New Losers Rye Whiskey Barrel Pick to the general public. I'll post a link in the ADHD Whiskey Facebook group. I'll post a link on the community tab here on YouTube. And then I'll also post a link on my live stream Friday night if there are any bottles remaining. Wow, that's good. When I get a bottle of that rye whiskey, that'll probably be one of my top 2 or 3 rye whiskeys that I have. That is so stinking good. I hope this video was not a huge advertisement for my Patreon community. I'm not trying to beg anybody to come over there. We have a group over there that's filled with love and hotness and awesomeness. And we all get along so good and give each other high fives and knucks and slaps on the asses. It's a great community over at patreon.com/ADHDwhiskey. But if you think that the apple brandy bourbon sounds fantastic and you can't miss out, then the only way to get that pick is by joining Patreon. My name is Matt. This is ADHD Whiskey. And like I always say, keep your head in the clouds, but your mind on... Wait a minute. Blending... Oh my gosh, what would the rye taste like if I put some apple brandy in it? Oh, shnikes. America. This is the rye. Here's the apple brandy bourbon. Oh my gosh. What happens if you blend them both together? What happens if you put them together? Will it make it better? Or will it make it worse? Or will it just be a different animal altogether? Like a silverback howler hippopotamus. Oh, that smells really good. What the heck? There's no way it smells that good. This is an apple brandy finished Boo Rye. What the heck? Am I a mad scientist? Apple brandy finished Boo Rye? Down the hatch, my guy. All right. I recommend mixing them together once in a while for a tasty, friggin' powerfully sweet, spicy treat that makes me happy from toes to teeth.